better than anyone. You know, we are just different sides of the same coin, right? I'm not a judge, or, you know, I may have studied certain things more, just as you may have studied certain things more. We're all here to share those experiences and those gifts. So that all being said, perhaps one of the greatest theories that I've come up with, and as simple as it sounds, it's pretty profound to me, is that when we are not in alignment ultimately with our true calling and our true purpose, that's usually when imbalances and diseases have a home. And that's my bottom line. That's it. So I look at myself. When people come to me, it's not just, well, you have a digestive issue or chronic migraines. It's always about what else is going on, because the imbalance is not in the physical. The imbalance is starting somewhere else, and that's ultimately where we need to come to. So chronic illness, let's just start with the most extreme cases, in any form to me says, we need to look at how am I, one, not in alignment with my calling or my true purpose, and how do I bring what I call more self-love into my life? Because it is about that ultimately. So as you sit here, and as I say this, some of it may resonate, some of it may not, because I'm looking at it more deeply within myself every single day. Ask yourself that as well, because we don't want to chase all the different things on the outside, right? It's like a tree that has a strong trunk and all these roots, right? The branches and the leaves. We don't want to chase every single leaf on that tree over there. There's a reason I put a tree on that wall. We want to focus on the core, because we will spend the rest of our lives chasing those leaves. And that's not what health is about. It's not what true love and self-love is about. So that all being said, I'm here to share just a slightly deeper concept with you, and then at some point we can meet on an individual basis and really look at this. There's different ways we can look at it together. And I'm starting to move into this with my patients more, my friends and family more, because it is who I am. Like I said, it's what I did in some capacity before, but now I'm doing it a little bit differently, because at the end of the day, I'm here to support you as you are here to support me, and I want you to have that joy and that health you're looking for, just as I want to have it for myself. And we can't do that if we're only looking at the physical. It doesn't happen, right? So that being said, I want to talk about something that we call the hero's journey. That's kind of what we're going to call it. So if you look at any movie or read a book, right, it talks about, there's a concept that's kind of written in the unseen spaces throughout all of those different places. And it's called the hero's journey. So it's ultimately, you start in one place, you seek, you find, you experience, and then it takes you to a different place where you learn something, transform, or perhaps not, whatever your choice is. But with what you have learned and what you come into, you somehow bring it back and you share that with the world in some way, or you share that piece of yourself. There are many of us in here who are sitting today that can probably say in one form or another that they're not sure that they were going to be here. They've had pretty significant life challenges, if I could say it like that, and experiences, and yet you're all in here. So the fact that you are in this space with me says that we're all looking to align more with our purpose, because those are the people that come here. That's who I attract, because that's what I'm looking for. So that all being said, and I'll just draw a little diagram just to kind of show you. So all right. So in every moment in our lives, we have the ability to make choices, right? Yeah. So there's no technically right or wrong. If we don't learn it in one way, we'll learn it in another. Most of our patterns, okay, are embedded in our subconscious spaces, which we don't see, right? We don't see them. And it's most of what's running us during our day. We are energy, okay, and if you know anything about energy, protons, electrons, neutrons, and if you look at physics, we actually are mostly made up of space. I look concrete and solid because I'm existing in three-dimensional space right now, but if I look at myself in the microscopy and the electron microscopy, I am mostly space. That's it. I am not this dense thing you see before me. In three-dimensional reality, this is what exists. So two-dimensional is like a piece of paper, right? It's flat. three-dimensional space is kind of what we look like and all the things around us. There exists what we call polarities in three-dimensional space. And again, this is all science and all physics. There's love, there's hate, there's cold, there's hot, right? There's polarities in this space. A lot of what we live in now, though, if you look at astrology and understand some of those higher spiritual places, is we've actually moved into what we call fourth-dimensional space. And what that means ultimately is more connection with our unconscious, with our God, with our spirituality, with what we call the archetypes, mass consciousness. It is a place that does not have polarity. So we are being challenged to expand within ourselves and look at how we can live more fully in that. Because the world is a very different place when you're not looking at it in terms of hot and cold, right? And you're really in that in-between. And how we heal ourselves from that and move into fourth dimension. Fifth dimension, which believe it or not has already come in, which is a beautiful thing, is the dimension of love. It's the love frequency. And as I understand it from my elders and my teachers, is that most of the energy that's coming onto our planet now from other planets and the galaxies is already fifth dimensional frequency of love. So I get goosebumps with that because that's it, we're already there. So we have a choice, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I don't know. It's like it's coming, it's happening, right? So how we choose to connect with this Mother Earth and our God and our spirituality and self-love and all of these things that we do in here to support our bodies is going to determine how we play out this phase of our lives. So what this represents is just a little drawing of the hero's journey, okay? So when the hero starts off, let's call this ordinary reality. We're going to call this bottom half extraordinary reality. Okay. So we kind of start off in ordinary reality, right? With kids, it's what we know. We're learning things in the world. We're working, we're studying, we're in that mode. Yet there's something inside of us that says, this can't just be it, right? There's got to be something more. And you get these feelings, maybe you're an artist, and when you paint, you feel like, oh my gosh, like it's just a whole different part of you connect with. It's your passion, it's your fire, it's your calling. We all have different callings, none better or worse. We are all here to equally share our gifts. The thing is, we get caught up in our lives and the to-dos and the bills to pay, and we forget, we forget those true pieces in the calling. So that's why I'm here, and this is why I want to share this and move more fully into this, because this is my calling. To move out of ordinary reality is not easy, because you will be ridiculed. You will be told you are different. You will be told you're crazy. All kinds of things. Because we live in a world of polarity. It is not a place of acceptance sometimes. We do have our safe spaces, and that's who we are all here to one another. That we can go to and say, I need you to help me through this, and you understand this language. Because not everyone can understand this language. Okay? So to move out of the ordinary into the extraordinary and grab your gifts is a choice we make, and we face those challenges, and we have to get our courage, right? Pull on that courage and grab that warrior sword in a very compassionate way and cross this line right here. This is the threshold that we cross, and we go into the extraordinary, and we grab our gifts, those gifts that make us different. They will make you different, because in that place, it's not of this world, right? I have been told so many times that this place is wrong, the extraordinary. But something about that is not a thought that, because it doesn't make sense to everyone when you go there. I'm a shamanic medicine woman. I'm a medical doctor. I'm an acupuncturist, those are just, but they're things that I do. What I'm saying is, that's not an ordinary place. When I was in medical school and I was in the hospital and everyone is thinking about the case study we're all presenting, and they're writing their pharmaceutical scripts and how they're going to treat the patient, I'm talking to the dead aunt that's standing behind the patient and saying, "Ooh, what are you doing here? What are you doing with me? Like, what is going on? I need to be on some meds." Like, I was like, what is this, right? How do we make sense of those things? How do I stop it? This is who I am. It's who I am, and there's something about that that is meant to be shared and meant to make me better for me and for others. And then I got to take that out of that extraordinary and bring it back here into this space with all of you and with the people that you touch, and eventually get out there and touch those people and share that. So my intro to this today, and this is why I just wanted your attention for a little bit of time, is that's where we're going. We're going into the extraordinary. And we're all doing it together. Okay? So when the challenges come up, when the ridicules come up, when the judgments come up, this is where we go to. This is where we call on. Ground ourselves onto this earth. You call on your God or your higher spaces, whatever they may be, and you know that that thing inside of you is ultimately what you need to connect to, because that's the place that's creating the imbalance in your health. And I'm here to support your health, but if I just supported your health with an IV bag and a nutrition pill, then I'm not doing my calling, because this is my calling. So go into your extraordinary. Ask yourself, what is that for me? Is there something that's still not connecting you? Why is that? You may need help with that. I can help you with that. There are ways that I can help you with that, okay? And maybe the next talk I do, I'll actually do a demo of it in front of everyone if we're all open to that, and show you how to do that. You know, someone can volunteer, people come to them, and I will do that with you. I will walk that person's journey, and then we can all do it at some point. You just tell me when you need my attention for it. We can get behind closed doors and do that together. So this is my intro, because I wanted to ground that in this space and put that out there and say, this is where I'm going, this is where this center is going. Whether we stay here or not, I'm leaving that open and up to my God, you know, to show me where I need to be to reach the masses and share this, because I truly believe this is what is missing from prevention and from health. And that is what I want to share. Thank you.